I made an earlier video concerning the Diebold machines, which clearly gave Bush Jr. the victory in Ohio and the presidency in the year 2004. John Kerry was definitely cheated out of the presidency that year. Initially, I felt like Biden-Harris might be a good alternative to Trump, who is honestly really a crooked disaster. He's a gangster. I don't think he makes good decisions. But in evaluating the outcome of this election now, we have a man, Biden, who is really not right in the head. He's really not quite organized, and I don't think he's really that long for this world. The second position is held by Kamala Harris, who is an avowed pot user. And if you want to see the slums of the future, make a trip over to Oakland, California. That's Kamala Harris's stomping grounds. The whole city, when you enter it, smells like marijuana. I don't know whether they're burning bales of marijuana or whether there's just so many people smoking it that it creates this marijuana smell throughout the whole city. The city itself is, every building is graffiti laden, and there's block after block of dissipated people living in broken down motorhomes, tents, cardboard boxes. It's just horrifying. And from what I'm reading, these slum cities are going to become the wave of the future. So this being said, I think the United States might do better keeping Trump as president. Certainly Pence is far superior than Kamala Harris as the vice president, should anything happen with the presidency. It is really a close call. We've got two really poor candidates. But in terms of the election itself, statistically, they said it would be like pitching 4 perfect games in the World Series. No hits, no runs, no errors. Many votes just had the Biden-Harris block filled out. None of the other races were filled out. Now that rings tilt. There were 92 million mail-in ballots unsolicited sent out. That's a great source for fraud. And the idea that Georgia in the Deep South would suddenly go Biden when Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, North and South Carolina all went for Trump just flies in the face of believability. So at this point, I would say everyone who's voted for a particular candidate, if it be Trump and Pence, send a certified registered letter to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., and list the statement in front of a notary: I voted for Donald J. Trump. Put your name, your address, your phone number, your social security number, sign it, and even put a fingerprint. And if they receive 75 to 100 million votes at the White House, I think that would be proof that Donald Trump did win the election. Biden, honestly, based on his campaign, reminds me of McGovern, and this man Eagleton reminds me of Harris. And he only won one state in 1972 against Richard Nixon. And I think this is more in line with what really happened. The rest of it is some kind of a Hugo Chavez software manipulation where the one candidate gets credit for 4 votes for every vote and his opposition gets a 0.75, which would, if you look at the result, 80 to 75, 80 million to 75 million. If you use that formula, you're going to end up with 100 million for Trump and 20 million for Biden. And I think that's more in line with the true people that voted, the legal votes. 120 million total votes. There was only 127 total votes in Hillary versus Trump in 2016. The idea that there's 160 plus million votes that brings tilt too. Anyway, just a few thoughts on the election. Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride either way.